Have you ever felt that life, as you've been taught to live it, doesn't make sense anymore? That deep down there's something bigger happening, but you can't quite put it into words? Here's the paradox. While most people believe reality is fixed, a growing number are waking up to the truth that it's flexible, alive, and shaped by consciousness itself. And what if everything you thought was solid, time, space, even your own identity, is only a fragment of a much greater picture? The term 5D consciousness may sound mystical, maybe even strange at first, but it hides a powerful secret. It's not another world, but another way of perceiving this one. Imagine living in the same city, but suddenly seeing streets and paths that were invisible before. Nothing outside has changed, yet your experience of it is completely transformed. That's the shift people around the world are beginning to feel right now. This is not about abandoning your human life nor about chasing fantasies. It's about a practical, real transition from fear to love, from survival to creation, from separation to unity. The reason you're hearing about 5D consciousness more and more is simple. Humanity is in the middle of a transformation. And whether you realize it or not, you're already being pulled into it. In this video, you'll discover what 5D consciousness really is, how it feels, and the subtle signs that show your soul is awakening. You'll see why this shift is not just spiritual, but also deeply connected to science, vibration, and the quantum field. And most importantly, you'll learn how to start aligning yourself with this frequency in daily life. Because once you taste it, there's no going back. So stay with me until the end, because understanding 5D consciousness might just be the missing key you've been searching for. The one that makes sense of your past struggles, your present questions, and your future possibilities. And trust me, once you see reality through this new lens, you'll never look at life the same way again. Most people spend their entire lives trapped in what is called the 3D reality, without even realizing it. In this dimension, everything feels heavy, limited, and controlled by the mind. People believe they are only their bodies, their jobs, or the roles society gave them. Life becomes a race for survival, always chasing money, status, or approval. It feels real, but it is a cage built by perception. And once you start noticing this cage, something deep inside whispers, there must be more than this. In 3D, fear is the main fuel that keeps the system running. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown. This fear creates invisible chains that stop people from exploring their true potential. Think of it like living inside a video game where the rules are designed to keep you distracted. You keep playing the same levels again and again, but never reach the next stage. That is the illusion of 3D. It convinces you that the small world you see is all that exists. The illusion becomes even stronger because everyone around you seems to believe in it too. Families, schools, and even religions often reinforce the same patterns. Work hard, fit in, and don't question too much. If you follow the rules, you're considered normal. But if you begin to ask deeper questions, people may call you crazy, a dreamer, or unrealistic. This pressure keeps many souls asleep, repeating routines without ever realizing that they are living on autopilot. Yet, there are moments when the illusion cracks. Maybe during a deep loss, a powerful dream, or a sudden synchronicity. You feel for an instant that reality is not as solid as you thought. Imagine standing in a crowded city surrounded by noise and suddenly feeling an inner silence that makes everything seem unreal. That is a glimpse of what lies beyond 3D. It's like the curtain of a theater being pulled back, revealing the machinery behind the show. Think of 3D like living in a room with closed windows. You can breathe, but the air is heavy. You can see, but only what's inside those walls. The outside world exists, full of fresh air and infinite landscapes, but you believe the room is the entire universe. Many people decorate their rooms with beautiful things, thinking they have it all. But deep inside, there's still emptiness. That emptiness is the soul calling for something higher. This is why the concept of 5D consciousness feels so magnetic. It promises that there is more, that you are more, and that reality itself is richer than the illusion you've been taught to accept. Once you start questioning the walls of 3D, you're already preparing to break through them. And the next step is understanding what 5D consciousness truly means. A shift that changes everything you thought you knew about life. 5D consciousness is not a place you travel to, like another planet or a faraway galaxy. It is a state of awareness, a vibration of being where you experience reality in a completely new way. Instead of being trapped by fear, ego, and separation, you begin to live through love, unity, and expansion. Imagine upgrading the operating system of your mind and heart. Suddenly, you see connections, synchronicities, and meaning in everything around you. That is the essence of the fifth dimension. In this state, time no longer feels as rigid. In 3D, time is linear. Past, present, and future follow one strict line. But in 5D consciousness, you begin to notice how moments overlap, how intuition guides you before things happen, and how your energy attracts experiences faster. It's like moving from an old black and white TV into a high-definition, multicolor screen where reality looks sharper, deeper, and more alive. The world hasn't changed. Your perception has. The key difference is that in 5D, you no longer identify yourself only as a physical body. You recognize yourself as consciousness having a human experience. This shift changes everything. You feel less controlled by external situations and more in tune with your inner power. The challenges of life still exist, but you no longer see them as punishments. Instead, they become opportunities to grow, heal, and expand your vibration. In 5D, problems are no longer walls, they are doors. One way to understand 5D is to think about radio frequencies. In 3D, your mind is tuned into a station that plays only songs of fear, scarcity, and limitation. When you shift into 5D, you change the dial into a station filled with harmony, abundance, and love. The old station still exists, but you are no longer tuned into it. The music you hear depends on the frequency you choose to align with, and that frequency is what we call consciousness. In 5D consciousness, love is not just an emotion, it becomes your natural state of being. You look at others and feel connected to them, because you see their soul rather than just their personality. Compassion replaces judgment, and unity replaces separation. This doesn't mean life becomes perfect, but it means you finally understand you are co-creating your reality, moment by moment. And with this awareness, you step into the role of creator instead of victim. This is why people who experience glimpses of 5D often say life suddenly feels lighter, brighter, and more meaningful. It's like waking up from a dream where you thought you were powerless, only to discover that you always held the key to the dream itself. But how can you tell if you're truly awakening into this dimension? My answer lies in the subtle signs your soul sends you every day, and that's exactly what we'll uncover next. The journey into 5D often begins with subtle inner changes that most people overlook. One of the first signs is a growing sense of disconnection from old habits, conversations, and environments that no longer feel aligned. You might find yourself losing interest in gossip, drama, or shallow interactions. It is not that you are becoming antisocial. It is your frequency shifting, pulling you away from what drains you and drawing you closer to what expands you. Another sign is heightened sensitivity to energy. In 3D, you may have ignored gut feelings or brushed off intuition, but in 5D, those whispers grow louder. You start noticing how people's vibes affect you instantly, how certain places feel heavy, and how synchronicities line up with uncanny precision. It feels as if the universe is speaking directly to you, leaving clues in numbers, dreams, and repeating patterns that guide your path forward. Emotional changes are also powerful indicators. In the shift to 5D, many experience sudden waves of sadness, joy, or peace without logical explanation. It is your energy body recalibrating. Old wounds rise to the surface for healing, while new states of love and gratitude emerge without effort. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack for years and suddenly realizing you can drop it. The relief feels strange at first, but it also feels like freedom. Physical symptoms often accompany this awakening. Some report changes in sleep patterns, unusual bursts of energy, or even moments of fatigue when their body is adjusting to higher frequencies. You might crave healthier foods, spend more time in nature, or feel drawn to meditation and silence. These are not random. They are signals that your vessel is preparing to hold more light, and align with the quantum frequency of 5D. Relationships are another mirror of your awakening. As you rise in vibration, some connections naturally fall away. This can be painful, but it is also a sign of growth. People who match your new frequency will appear, sometimes in magical ways. You may attract friends, mentors, or even strangers who feel like soul family. The universe rearranges your external world to reflect your inner expansion. Perhaps the most profound sign is a deep sense of inner peace, even when life looks chaotic on the outside. In 3D, chaos controls you. In 5D, you observe it without losing your center. You begin to trust the process, knowing that every challenge carries hidden wisdom. This growing stability is proof that your consciousness is no longer tied to fear. It is rising into a state where love leads the way. And once you notice these signs, the question becomes, how do you stabilize them and live in 5D every single day? Living in 5D is not about escaping reality, but about learning to approach everyday life with a higher frequency. One of the simplest practices is mindfulness. By slowing down and becoming fully present, you step out of the noise of 3D and connect with the energy of the now. This can be as simple as savoring your morning coffee without distraction, or taking a walk while observing the details of nature around you. Presence is the gateway into higher awareness. Gratitude is another daily tool that raises your vibration instantly. When you begin each day by acknowledging even the smallest blessings, you align with abundance instead of lack. Write down 3 things you are grateful for every morning, or silently thank the universe before going to sleep. Gratitude shifts your perception, teaching you to see life not as a burden, but as a miracle unfolding moment by moment. Meditation is also a key practice for stabilizing 5D consciousness. Even 10 minutes a day of closing your eyes, breathing deeply, and letting thoughts pass can create profound changes. It allows you to quiet the chatter of 3D and tune into the quantum frequency of love, peace, and expansion. Over time, meditation rewires your brain, making it easier to choose calmness over chaos and clarity over confusion. Your physical body also plays an essential role. Eating nourishing foods, drinking plenty of water, and moving with intention all help your body hold more light. Think of it like upgrading the hardware of a computer to support new software. If your body is heavy or toxic, the energy of 5D struggles to flow. But when you treat your body as a sacred temple, you create space for higher frequencies to thrive within you. Another powerful way to align is by practicing compassion in your interactions. In 3D, it is easy to react with judgment or defensiveness. But in 5D, you begin to see the pain and stories behind people's actions. By responding with empathy, you not only raise your own vibration, but also help lift the collective frequency. Every act of kindness ripples outward, influencing more than you can imagine. Finally, protect your energy by setting clear boundaries. Being in 5D does not mean allowing others to drain you. On the contrary, it means honoring your light enough to say no when necessary. Spend time with people who uplift you, consume content that inspires you, and avoid environments that pull you back into fear. Alignment is not a one-time event. It is a daily choice. And as you practice these habits, you begin to experience the science behind why 5D consciousness is not just mystical, but deeply connected to the quantum frequency itself. When people hear about 5D, they often think of it as something purely mystical, but science is slowly catching up with what spiritual traditions have always known. In the quantum field, reality is not fixed. It exists as infinite possibilities, vibrating at different frequencies. Your consciousness is like a tuning fork. The vibration you hold determines which version of reality you collapse into. That vibration is what we call the quantum frequency, and in 5D, it is tuned to love, unity, and expansion. Imagine reality as a giant ocean of energy. In 3D, most people float on the surface, believing only what they see with their eyes. But in 5D, you dive deeper, discovering that the ocean itself is alive, responsive, and intelligent. Every thought, every emotion, and every intention sends ripples through this ocean, shaping what flows back to you. This is why people in 5D often notice synchronicities and manifestations happening much faster. They are surfing the frequency of alignment. Science gives us clues about this. Studies in quantum physics reveal that particles can exist in multiple states until observed. This observer effect suggests that your awareness does not just witness reality, it helps create it. When you embody 5D consciousness, you become a conscious observer, directing energy with intention instead of unconsciously repeating old patterns. The quantum frequency responds to your clarity, not your confusion. Think about it. Have you ever experienced a moment when you thought about someone and they suddenly called you? Or when you imagined an outcome and it unfolded almost exactly as you pictured? These are not coincidences. They are small windows into how the quantum frequency operates. In 3D, you dismiss them as chance. In 5D, you recognize them as proof that consciousness and reality are intertwined. Another important aspect is coherence. In 3D, the mind and heart often pull in opposite directions, creating inner conflict. But in 5D, when heart and mind align, your vibration stabilizes, amplifying your influence on the field around you. This is why practices like meditation, gratitude, and compassion are so powerful. They harmonize your internal energy, allowing you to broadcast a stronger, clearer frequency into the quantum field. The beauty of the quantum frequency in 5D is that it empowers you to move from being a passive participant in life to an active creator. You no longer wait for circumstances to change. You change your vibration and reality follows. And while this sounds almost magical, it is deeply practical. Your thoughts, emotions, and energy are constantly shaping the world around you. The question is no longer if you influence reality, but how you will use that influence as the collective shift into 5D accelerates. The awakening into 5D consciousness is not just a personal journey. It is a movement happening across the planet. More and more people are questioning the structures of society, the systems of control, and the old beliefs that kept humanity locked in 3D. You can feel it in conversations, in global events, and even in the way younger generations approach life. There is a collective pulse pushing humanity towards something greater, and that something is the frequency of unity and higher awareness. This shift is often called the Great Awakening. It is the moment when humanity begins to see through illusions, not just in personal lives, but in politics, economics, religion, and culture. People are realizing that fear-based narratives have kept them divided, and many are refusing to participate in the old game. It is like millions of lights turning on in a dark room, each one revealing a little more of the truth. And as each light ignites, it inspires others to do the same. Of course, collective shifts are not smooth or easy. The crumbling of old systems often looks chaotic, and many confuse this chaos with destruction. But in truth, it is transformation. Just as a seed must break its shell to grow into a tree, humanity must break through outdated patterns to birth a new reality. What seems like collapse is actually the soil being turned, preparing for new growth. In 5D, you learn to see endings as beginnings in disguise. What makes this era unique is that the shift is happening faster than ever before. Technology, global communication, and shared knowledge are accelerating the awakening process. A message that once took decades to spread can now reach millions in seconds. This interconnectedness reflects the very essence of 5D, a state where separation dissolves and the truth of oneness becomes undeniable. Humanity is literally practicing unity through its own creations. At the same time, many feel the pressure of this transition. Old wounds rise not just individually but collectively. Issues of inequality, division, and fear surface loudly, demanding healing. From a 3D perspective, this can feel overwhelming. But from a 5D perspective, it is a necessary purging. Just like a body releasing toxins, the planet is cleansing itself of energies that cannot exist in higher frequencies. The discomfort is proof of evolution, not failure. Ultimately, the collective shift into 5D consciousness is about remembering who we truly are. It is about realizing that humanity was never meant to live in fear and limitation, but in love and co-creation. And while the journey is ongoing, every individual who awakens adds momentum to the whole. The more people embody the quantum frequency of love, the faster the collective rises. And this is why your personal awakening matters. It is part of a much bigger story, one that is still unfolding. Now that you've seen what 5D consciousness truly means, the question is no longer if you're awakening, but how far you're willing to go. Will you keep living in the loops of fear and limitation, or will you choose to align with the higher frequency of love, unity, and creation? Remember, this isn't about waiting for the world to change. It's about becoming the change and watching reality follow. Ask yourself, have you noticed the signs of this shift in your own life? The moments of synchronicity, the sudden clarity, the inner pull toward something greater? These are not accidents. They are invitations. Every time you listen to them, you step closer to living fully in 5D. Every time you ignore them, you delay the transformation your soul came here to experience. The power is already inside you. The practices are simple: presence, gratitude, meditation, compassion. But the results are extraordinary. Peace in chaos, love in place of fear, and clarity where there once was confusion. This is what it means to align with the quantum frequency of 5D. It's not theory. It's not fantasy. It's a reality you can embody right now. So here's the challenge. What will you do today to step into that higher state? Will you practice gratitude before bed? Will you breathe deeply instead of reacting in anger? Will you dare to follow your intuition even when logic says no? These small choices are the doorway into a much bigger life. And if this message resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Share your experiences in the comments. What signs of awakening have you noticed? How are you aligning with 5D in your daily life? Your story might inspire someone else to take the leap. If you're ready to keep expanding, subscribe now and turn on the notifications because this is just the beginning. Together, we're going to explore the path of 5D consciousness step by step. And trust me, you won't want to miss what comes next.